Hey, it's Billy! Many people are already aware that the movie Avengers Endgame is now the #1 box office movie in the world. And there were a lot of emotional fans by the ending to Endgame. And as it was said in Infinity War, Doctor Strange said that out of several million, there's only one version where the Avengers are successful in defeating Thanos. But after seeing the movie, what would you say if I came up with a second version, an alternative future to where the Avengers do defeat Thanos, just like in the end of Endgame, but also with no mishaps to the timeline, no casualties or sacrifices the heroes have to make, and all the exciting stuff still happens? Well, for this episode, I thought I'd share with you my version, the second future, to where they're victorious, but no casualties. In Avengers Endgame, up until the part where they start building the time machine where Tony calls Rocket Ratchet, that's when things get a little bit crazy with the time travel. These are the differences. In the movie, instead of them accidentally using one of the pin particles for the test run, they actually do have enough for 2 test runs. One, Hawkeye goes back the first time to see if his family is still alive in the past, and that's successful. Then the second time, Thor goes back to Asgard 2013 to bring back his hammer as proof of not disrupting the timeline. You with me so far? Now they plan the time heist. Instead of 3 destinations, they only pick 2 destinations. New York 2012 and Vormir 2018. Each team has 5 members. Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow, and Hawkeye go to New York 2012 to get the Mind Stone and the Time Stone. Hawkeye and Iron Man go to get the Mind Stone that's in the scepter during the Battle of New York while everyone's distracted. And then Hulk, Captain America, and Black Widow go to see the Ancient One and convince her to give them the Time Stone. That's 2 stones down. The second team, Thor, Nebula, Rocket, Rhodey, and Ant-Man, go to Vormir 2018 just as Thanos is about to sacrifice Gamora to get the Soul Stone. After Thanos sacrifices Gamora to get the Soul Stone, he gets transported to a river in Vormir where he's unconscious and completely vulnerable. That's when the second team goes in and gets the remaining stones. The Power Stone, Space Stone, Reality Stone are already on his gauntlet, so Scott shrinks down and knocks all 3 of them off his gauntlet for Rhodey to collect in different little capsules. Then Thor opens up Thanos' other hand, which reveals the new Soul Stone for Rocket to swipe. Nebula is standing watch. Thor, Rocket, Rhodey, and Scott all head back to the present, but Thanos wakes up and grabs Nebula and gets her pin particles for him to power up his remaining ship, like in the movie, to time travel. Back in the present, the remaining Avengers build their gauntlet, put the stones in there, and Hulk puts it on and snaps everyone back that was snapped 5 years ago back to the present. They immediately get the gauntlet off his hand so it doesn't cause any permanent injury, and they heal his hand and arm. Then, after that, Thanos' ship arrives in the present and destroys the Avengers complex. Nebula escapes, warns the Avengers about it, and the 10 of them go to fight Thanos. Just like in the movie, Thanos is about to kill Thor, but Captain America summons the hammer and starts beating the heck out of Thanos. Then, with his remaining army, Thanos overpowers the 10 of them and is about to claim victory, but then Doctor Strange opens up a portal from which everyone who was snapped away 5 years ago returns for the final battle, just like in the movie. Except minus Vision and Gamora. And plus, Captain Marvel actually arrives a little bit earlier and destroys Thanos' ship. Then, using the Power Stone, Captain Marvel knocks Thanos unconscious. Enough time for them to use some of S.H.I.E.L.D's old tech to erase Thanos' memory from the time heist, and then put him back in 2018 Vormir with the Soul Stone, the Space Stone, the Power Stone, and the Reality Stone. Then they put the Scepter with the Mind Stone and the Time Stone back in New York 2012, and then Thor returns his hammer to 2013 Asgard. Plain and simple. At the end of Endgame, there is a funeral for Tony Stark, but instead of Tony Stark's funeral, what would you say it was to honor Stan Lee? Like, give him a role in Avengers Endgame. I was thinking maybe he could be a janitor custodian for the Avengers complex for the past 5 years, and he was actually giving them helpful tips and wisdom and like ideas for the time heist and building the time machine before they go and do the mission of retrieving all the 6 stones. What if he was the one who gave them the idea? And that he was the one who distracted Thanos during the battle in time for Captain Marvel to knock Thanos unconscious. But he gets injured and as a result dies. And then at the end, they make a memorial in front of the Avengers building to honor him and have a funeral for him. Tony Stark, Pepper Potts, and Morgan Stark are there. Happy, Rhodey, Captain America, Black Widow, Peter Parker, May Parker, Hulk, Betty, Thor, Jane, Eric Selvig, Darcy, Doctor Strange, Christine, Wong, Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne, Hope Van Dyne, Scott Lang, Nebula, Peter Quill, Rocket, Groot, Mantis, Drax, Black Panther, Shuri, Hawkeye and his family, Sharon Carter, Wanda Maximoff, Bucky, Sam Wilson, Carol Danvers, Agent Hill, and Nick Fury. Everyone, all the big characters from the past Marvel movies are there to honor him in a way. I figured they should do something bigger for Stan Lee in that movie. Now, since there were no sacrifices the heroes had to make and no casualties, this is how I pictured the movie ending. Tony Stark and Clint Barton, they retire and settle down back with their families. Both Bruce and Thor rekindle their romantic relationships with their love interests, Betty and Jane. And because it's been hinted in many of the movies already that Steve and Natasha have grown real close, they start a life together, retire, and eventually will fall in love. And like in the comics, they have a son together, James Rogers, who eventually becomes the new leader of the next generation of Avengers. And then Sam Wilson and Wanda, they take charge in leading the next team of Avengers, the remaining Avengers that haven't retired. And that the original Avengers promised to return if the world was ever in a state of chaos or a serious cataclysmic event was to happen, that they would return to help out again. I just figured they deserve a better, a happier ending. And as far as I can tell, it took a lot of thinking after seeing Avengers Endgame, but this version is foolproof. And I guarantee it could have worked. It would have given the movie a better ending. Till next time, I'm Billy, and thanks for tuning in.